The 2012 Winter Classic was another classic. 3-2, Russia winning this one. No, actually it was the New York Rangers who came out and beat Philadelphia. This thing just keeps getting better and better every year, although the ratings dipped a little bit. They were back in the afternoon, not in the evening. Where does it go from here? How do you keep this thing growing? What does the NHL do to make sure this doesn't plateau, Billy?
Well, you got to pick the right teams regularly, and it's a lot about television markets. The University of Michigan athletic director has confirmed that the NHL has contacted him to have a discussion about putting the game in the facility at the Big House next New Year's Day. Whether or not it happens, we'll wait and see. But if it obviously happens here, Detroit Red Wings would be the host team. That would bring in huge ratings alone. But then who do you bring in? People have talked about Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm sorry, I just don't see NBC. And in this case, I'm not taking a line from John Tortorella. They do have a say in this because they want to have good markets. They don't want to lose an American market.
I think if you go to a neutral site, and we'll call that a neutral site because it's not Joe Louis Arena, I think it gives you an opportunity to bring in a team that normally wouldn't be involved that has tremendous star power. So if you look to teams out west that really don't have an opportunity because everything's in the Northeast, now you start thinking about that. Where can we get our biggest names that play in the league that you don't get to see play in the Winter Classic? If you're going to play it at the football stadium in Michigan, maybe you invite in LA or whoever you feel has enough star power to draw the audience you're looking for.
I agree completely. I think I like the fact they're going to maybe go to a football stadium. I don't know, something about the baseball stadium, the sight lines, and the first 50 rows you can't see a thing. Even in the football stadium, maybe the same thing, but maybe they block those off.
I'll say this, and I've said this before. I think the next step for this is to find build something. Put it in Central Park. Put it in an iconic place in the middle of a city where you have a city around you. You know, they played college basketball on an aircraft carrier. Mm-hmm. Why can't you come up with an idea like that to put it in the middle of a place?
And I think New York will be the place that could happen because the issue in New York is Yankee Stadium wants it, but right now they're busy with the Pinstripe Bowl or whatever. It's another thing we don't care about.
Russia won that too, by the way.
But it's tied up for at least another 3 or 4 years. So I think they're going to look because New York wants it. They want to put it in an area that they can make a big impression.
I'm telling you, build a little something in Central Park, have it right there. You know, U2 did a concert tour last year where they built the stadium in every city they went to. There's enough money here to build a ballpark for it.
My only concern around the Winter Classic, and before I get to that, I love the fact that 24/7 takes you right up to the Winter Classic. HBO does a fabulous job with that, and I think if you talk to any of the organizations, I know the Bruins for sure, they would love to be a part of that coaches withstanding. You know, they're not fans of it. But, you know, my biggest concern is that you oversaturate the product. Leave it just as it is, an event. Don't expand it. Whatever you do not expand what you're doing around the Winter Classic and playing that game.
And that's what makes it special.
Yes.
And again, maybe it should replace the All-Star game, and maybe Ottawa should be in it every year because they have the most star power. All right, our Get Instigated question brought to you, as always, by Sully's. If you believe in Boston, shop at sullysbrand.com. What was your reaction to John Tortorella's suggestion that the refs were making calls against the Rangers to get the game into overtime? If you watch the game, not the penalty shot, he covered it in the crease, but the diving call that went before, it was hard not to think they were trying to get this game to overtime.
At least they won the game. Imagine if they lost, he would have been down 120 grand probably. But I just think it happens. He lost his mind. He apologized, and you snap sometimes after games, and that's what he did. And
I thought there was a lot of time, Mark, though, between the end of the game and by the time he got to the podium to have his press conference. I think he had a lot of time to sort through his emotions and his feelings. This wasn't a microphone in his face in his office immediately following the game. So I think there's a lot more to what we were privy to as far as what led up to that game and the access that 24/7 had. I told you, coaches hate it, and maybe there were some lines crossed that he didn't appreciate, and he let his feelings known. But, of course, the mea culpa had to come. Otherwise, he was going to get suspended.
I mean, listen, having known John Tortorella for some years, I think he made a mistake. I also think he's tried being a bit of a smart aleck, you know, right there. I think, I don't know if we were allowed to say that or not here.
It's not HBO.
So he was just trying to be a bit, and he comes out. Does he completely mean it? I'm going to take the guy at his word that he realized that he was being improper there when he said
Listen, he didn't squirt anybody with water. He didn't throw a water bottle at anybody. He gave him $30,000 fine.
But it was, when you but it was said with feeling and honesty. You know, like he wasn't just. It wasn't a throwaway line.
I don't think he's a guy that has throwaway lines. Do you, Brick?
No,
I don't
absolutely
think he does.
not.
Well, you know, like I said, if you watch the end of that game, it's hard not to believe that everybody, including the refs, wanted that thing to go to overtime. All right.